meditation tonight, or today actually.
What does that do for you that just, and I'm being serious, when I get that feeling, if I'm doing a lot of work, I have that, I don't know if it's a talent or what, it's a gift. I can just sprawl out and take a little cat nap, and you wake up completely refreshed.
Yeah, meditation is actually a deeper condition than sleep itself, which is hard to imagine sitting in a chair in the yoga position doing a mantra and imagining you're in a deeper state than sleep itself, but it's very true. A half-hour meditation a day is worth 4 hours sleep a night. Is that amazing? It's
wow.
Really true. Maharishi, it's a scientific thing. There's no hullabaloo involved.
The guy could do enough of that. He could stay awake all the time, couldn't he?
Oh, you can get to Maharishi. He's an hour and a half sleep a night. I mean, the guy's amazing. 20 years in the hills, sitting there, doing a mantra. And his nervous system's so refined that he requires about an hour and a half, 2 hours sleep a night, which is quite amazing.
You know what I find interesting, if I may get to something else? Even though you put the special harmony songs of the Beach Boys together, I understand you're completely deaf in your right ear.
Well, I'm 96% deaf, which is relatively close enough to being deaf.
How did that happen? Was it listening to the loud sounds or what?
No, it was either at birth. It either happened right at birth or happened a couple years after. I was hit in the ear by a friend down the street. He poked me right in the ear, and I thought maybe that was when I went deaf. But I think my folks said that I tend to lean to my left when I was a baby to hear what they said. I would tend to go like this.
I used to do that because my dad used to hit me on this thing. It's called rolling with the punches. You have no idea what stereo sounds like that.
No, unfortunately. Most of my records, up until Carl, my brother, began helping me do the dub downs, which is transferring from 16-track to a 2-track for pressing. I couldn't hear stereo, and it was sort of like being robbed of some pleasure of life that everybody, I mean, stereo, when it came in the 50s, everybody was so flip, and here I was, Brian Wilson didn't hear stereo, so, I think I was a bit robbed of that pleasure, and I still miss it. I think it's like being born blind. You try to describe something to somebody, what's it like, So it's, unfortunately, I'm not complaining, but it is a little bit of a setback to not hear stereo, and I'm sure that if I ever get my ear back, if science advances far enough to where they can say, okay, here you go, you've got 2 ears now, well, I'll be very grateful. I'll thank God for it. But as of now, it's setback.
When I introduced you, I said that you had dropped out of the scene for 6 years. Why did you drop out?
Well, there's a little story I tell. I don't really tell this story, but I've gone over it in my head a number of times. It's a little story about drugs and what they do to you. A number of my friends in the music business, who I adore and think are wonderful people, had taken on drugs, cocaine, marijuana, LSD, on down the list. Anything to get you high was the thing that everybody lived by. So I got into that, and I started getting into euphoria. I started to think that was the positive way to go. I mean, drugs can be positive, but unfortunately, there's usually a negative effect associated with drugs.
There's so little known about it, too.
Yeah.
When you're experimenting with drugs, you are really experimenting.
A lot of people, a lot of the hippies in the 60s said, well, the great Messiah is supposed to come in the 60s, and it came in the form of drugs, which I agree. There's a certain amount to be said for that, but in my personal story I have to tell, it really didn't work out so well, so positively, because I began to depend on the drugs. The cocaine was a beautiful high. I mean, I could write songs, I get in an elated state, but the come down was so god-awful. I mean, it was so...
How long did it last, this high?
2 hours. You got at least 2 hours of a high, and then you got another hour and a half of nothing but garbage, which...
Describe that garbage.
Oh, it's called heaven and hell. I mean, drugs are a definite balance of heaven and hell. You go to heaven, and you go right to hell. I mean, it's just... I gotta say on TV, especially if anywhere I'd ever say this, that I wouldn't advance on any encouragement to the use of cocaine.
Why does a talented man like you need highs? Wouldn't just having that talent be enough of a high? You have an immense amount of talent. You started as a kid doing things that most grown-ups weren't capable of doing. Why in the world would a man with that kind of God-given talent need any help from drugs?
Okay, you said need help for what reason?
For a high. What high do you have?
Okay, I say that drugs are not needed by a person of talent, God bless me with some talent. I never have utilized grass or any drugs or cocaine to actually for a stepping stone to write or create music or create even a thought. I have been taught the difference by my psychiatrist, thank God, of a natural high and a drug high. A drug high is a euphoria that, not like a natural high. When you get off writing a song, you're high. I mean, your chemistry in your body changes. Definite change of chemistry when you're happy as to, opposed to when you're sad. Drugs also bring a chemical change. We're all chemistry. We're made of chemistry. And I'm not saying I need this high. I say I enjoy this high. I may need this. This might be one of the pitfalls of my semi-addiction to drugs. I guess you'd have to say addiction, just like coffee. I mean, people in America, they get up and they're addicted. They need that cup of coffee for that lift. It's something they look forward to, but that's positive. I say if you look forward to doing something and you get a good result from it, straight ahead, green lights. But I mean, if you find yourself addicted, tempted to go onto the heroin, I mean, forget it. This is where the pits.
Are you off now of drugs?
Oh, I'm off cocaine, thank God. I mean, I did my dose of LSD. It shattered my mind, and I, came back, thank God, in I don't know how many pieces.
What made you come back, Brian?
That's a hard question. I probably came back out of will. My name is Wilson. Maybe that's where I got the will. Sheer will got me back on Earth. Your
brothers help you? The encouragement?
My brothers encouraged me to get out of the sack, come on, Brian, start writing, get off your butt.
You were in bed for over 3 years, weren't you?
Oh, 2.5, 3 years. I hibernated. It's like some kind of a Maharishi in the hills hiding in his bed, snorting cocaine, meditating, and all these weird things. My lights were down weird. I had red lights. And
who paid for all the cocaine? Were you able to do it? It's a very expensive.
Right here. Expensive drug habit.
How expensive?
Oh, it's for 1 day's worth, it's over $100 a day. It's not worth it. Who could afford, okay, give me some coke, I mean, it just can't do it. You can't do it.
Readily available, easy to come by?
Yeah, it's a street drug. It's called a street drug. It's not something you get through the hospitals or doctors. So the black market, of course, has a lot of that stuff, that white powder, as they call it. It's available to anybody and everybody who has the money to buy it, which, in my case, I made a lot of money with the Beach Boys, and
a lot of money.
Oh, I made millions of bucks. Unfortunately, I didn't retain that much money. A lot of my investments went kaput. But I'm saying a lot of people went so far as to say drugs were the messiah.
That a contributing factor toward the breakdown and the leaving the business? Yeah,
there was a certain amount of insecurity that set in that said, I told myself, a little voice said, hey, you're getting a little thin in the pocketbook. And I tend to react very personally to something like that.
Most of us would, to a pocketbook.
Yeah, I'm a believer in monetary security. I think that security, that money can buy happiness, opposed to what a lot of people think. I think that money, if you can get something with money that makes you happy, then by God, money made you happy. Let's face it, when you can get money, you're a lucky person like I was. Drugs were expensive. I could afford it. I can't afford them as much as I could. Thank God I don't need them as much as I did, too.
Brian, God bless you for coming out and saying all those things. I appreciate it.
Very welcome. Should I go ahead and do my other night?
Yeah. Well, I'm going back this summer to Ohio. Gonna seek out all my friends I've always known. I'm going back to that farm that I remember. Well, I'm gonna spend this summer back home. Oh, I'll spend my summer back home. Back home. I'll spend my summer back home. Everything that Ma puts on the table. When I get back, you won't believe how I grow. Sat early every night thinking about tomorrow. But I'm gonna spend this summer back home. Back home. I'll spend my summer back home. I'll spend my summer. Gonna get up every morning.
Yes, please. That's what you do. Thank you very much. Be right back.